Hey guys, it's Angie from the Freckle Craft Studio and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I made this booklet using Canva and the Silhouette Studio software. In this video, I will be listing all the tools and materials I used to create it. I assure you that if you follow every single step the way I show it on the video, you can have the same result. So without further ado, let's get into the tools and materials I use to create this awesome booklet. A laser printer. You can use inkjet, but because I had to print over 100 pages, I decided to go laser. A craft scoreboard, which is optional. A paper cutter, it's also optional. A long reach stapler. And lastly, 8.5 by 14 inch copy paper, also known as legal size paper. Before we get started, I want to show you how I arrived to the conclusion of how many sheets of paper I was going to need. The size of my booklet is 8.5 by 7. The sheet I'm printing on is 8.5 by 14, which means I will be folding one sheet of paper in half. We are also printing double-sided. So knowing that, I was able to conclude that for one sheet of paper, I was able to fit 4 out of the 24 pages I had on Canva. I found that it is easier when the total number of pages you have is divisible by 4. Here's a short chart to give you an example. If you have 4 total pages on Canva, you will only need one sheet. If you have 8 total pages on Canva, you will only need 2 sheets of paper. In other words, how many times does 4 go into the number of pages you have on Canva? And your answer will be the number of sheets you need. I hope I explained that properly, but let me give you a visual. So as I mentioned before, I have 24 pages total on Canva. Just to give you a visual on how we're going to put our booklet together, I suggest you do the same because this will help immensely. We're going to fold it down the middle to make it look like a booklet, and then we're going to start marking the pages. Of course, the first page is the cover page, so we write that down. Following the table of contents. Many people don't use it, but I do. Next, we're going to mark page 1. Then page 2, following page 3, page 4, page 5, and so on and so forth. And the last page is the backing. So we're going to be using this booklet to guide us on which pages to put next to each other. Now we're going to flip through the pages to make sure that all the numbers are correct. As you can see, the numbers don't make sense, but these are the pages that are going to go next to each other. So here's an example. For the first page, we're going to have both the cover and the backing right next to each other. And then when it's time to flip over the page to print on the second side, we're going to have table of content and page 21 right next to each other. So let's get started on that. It's time to open up Canva to download the PDFs. Here I'm sharing my screen with you on Canva. As you can see, I have 24 pages in total. Don't forget to make the size of these pages on Canva the size of your booklet. In my case, it's 8.5 by 7. If you're using letter size paper, then your page should be 8.5 by 5.5. Now it's time to save this project. On the top right, you're going to click on Share. Then you're going to hit Download. Then you're going to change the file type to PDF Print, which is best for printing, and hit Download. FYI, I made a little folder called Booklet where I'm going to be saving all of the PDFs. I suggest you do the same to avoid any sort of confusion or mistakes. Now we're going to open up our Silhouette Studio Business Edition software. At the top right, you're going to click on Page Setup and then go to Media Size and click Custom. For the width, I'm going to put 8.5. For the height, I'm going to put 14 inches. And then I'm going to do the orientation landscape. For visual purposes, I'm going to draw a line down the middle. The line in the middle is going to represent where the book is going to be stapled. And so one side, or the left side, one page is going to be there. And on the right side, another page is going to be there. So what we're doing, essentially, is putting 2 pages on one sheet of paper side by side. First, I'm going to rename this file the editing sheet. So when I reference it throughout the video, you'll know what I'm talking about. I suggest you do the same so that you avoid any mistakes and any confusion. Let's start uploading our pages. In the top left, you're going to hit Open, and then you're going to go to the recently downloaded Canva PDF. Click on that, and then you hit OK. Then this screen is going to pop up. This screen is for PDFs when you try to open them up on the Silhouette Studio software. Now, we cannot open up all 24 at a time, which kind of works in our favor. Up by where it says page range and then the number 1, you can use those little 2 arrows pointing up and down to scroll through all of your pages. But once you find the page that you need, you're going to click on Import as Image, change the DPI to 1200, and then click Import. It's going to come up in a new tab, but that's okay. You click on the image, right-click, copy. Now, close out this tab just so there aren't any confusions. Go back to the editing sheet, right-click, and paste. Now, while it's still highlighted, go to your alignment pane and click on Align to the right. Then align at the middle. Now let's go to the next page. Go back to your Open button, which is at the top left. Go to your file and click OK. It's going to open up this screen. Scroll all the way to the last page. Click Import as Image, change the DPI to 1200, and click Import. It's going to open up in a separate tab. Click on the image, right-click, copy, close it out to avoid confusion, right-click, and paste. Now while it's still highlighted, you're going to open up your alignment pane, align at the left, and align middle. And we're all set there. Now we're going to save this page. So at the top, go to File, hit Save As, Save to Hard Drive. Go into the Booklet folder, Save As Type PDF. File name is going to be Back and Cover. And we're all set with that. We're going to continue to use the same sheet. So highlight both of these and just hit delete. Once again, top left, we're going to hit open. Go to the Canva PDF and click OK. This screen will pop up. Scroll through all your pages, and based on the page numbers you gave, go to page 1. Import as image. Change the DPI to 1200 and import. It's going to open up in a separate tab, and that's okay. Click on the image, right click, copy, close this tab out, and in the editing sheet, right click and paste. While it's still highlighted, align to the right and align to the middle. Again, open, PDF, OK. Scroll all the way to page 20. Go based on the page numbers you put to your pages. Import as image, DPI 1200, and import. It's going to open up in a separate tab. Right click, copy, close out this tab. Back to the editing sheet, right click, paste. Go to the alignment pane, align left, and align middle. Now let's save it. Go to File, Save As, Save to Hard Drive. Go to the Booklet folder, Save As Type PDF, and file name page 20 and page 1. So for the rest of the video, I'm going to go ahead and speed it up. Hopefully you got the gist of how to save the files and the pages with the first 2 examples I gave. It's pretty simple once you get into the groove. Remember to reference the little booklet that we made earlier in the video. That's definitely going to be your guide. Now that all our files are saved, it's time to start printing. But before we do that, let's go over to our printer and exchange the letter size paper to the legal size paper. First, we're going to print the back and the cover. This order is based on the booklet we made earlier in the video. My laser printer does not automatically print double-sided, so once I'm done with this print, I have to remove the papers and put them right back in order to print on the other side. If your printer prints double-sided, you are lucky. It'll make this job so much easier. But what I'm doing right now is just putting the paper right back into the printer to print the other side, which will be the table of contents and page 21. So here's the first stack of the printed file. Here you have the back and the cover, and on the other side is the table of content and page 21. I'm gonna speed up the video because I don't want it to take up too much time, but you kind of get the gist of it. Make sure to follow the order of the booklet we made earlier in the video. Once we're done with the printing, we now fold the paper. Now this is one way of doing it, whereas you take sheet by sheet individually and you fold it down the middle. I use my scoreboard to do that. And as I mentioned early in the video, I said this is optional. There is another way to do it if you don't want to spend all day folding paper. I know I had over 100 sheets and it took me a while, but I didn't mind because, I had nothing else to do that day. But here's another way to do it. So you can take a page from each stack and of course putting them in order following the booklet we made earlier, and then you staple it right down the middle. Now with this stapler, it's easier to do that because it has a little stopper, a plastic white stopper that allows you to line up with the number of inches. So I put it to 7 and then just clamp down on the middle 3 times. You go ahead and fold it, applying some pressure, and set it aside. Once we're done stapling all of the booklets, this part is optional. So the only reason why I'm using my paper cutter is because I like a clean job. I was just cutting it on the edge just to make sure that it was even through and through. Once again, this part is optional, but if you have a paper cutter like this one, go ahead and do it. So there you have it, guys, a full, very detailed tutorial on how to make a booklet. I really hope you learned something, and I really hope you can follow through without it being complicated. If you have any questions, do not hesitate in leaving it in the comment section. I'll try my best to respond. I'll try and answer it to the best of my abilities. I enjoyed making these booklets because it is for my church, and I'm hoping I get to do more of these in the future. As always, I want to thank you so much for watching, and until next time,